Today is Monday, October 23rd, 2023, and the time is 5:36 p.m. We're holding this meeting at Council Chamber, City Hall Building, 100 South Monroe Street, in Eagle Pass, Texas. We'll start by establishing quorum. We do have 3 out of the 5 members present. Next is citizens communication. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody signed up to address the commission?
Never have any, sir.
Nobody signed up. And at the request of the planning department, we'll move on to executive items. Number 11, request for executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and Section 551.072 to discuss condemnation negotiations regarding a 46.35 acre tract of land located along the north side of Main Street, conveyed to the estate of Jeremiah Ingalls Rhodes, and return to open session for possible action. And number 12, request for executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, discussion and presentation regarding Robert's Rules of Order and Texas Open Meeting Act, and return to open session for possible action. There's no vote to go into executive session. Going to executive
Yeah,
session
you wanted to state the
at
time?
5:37 p.m.
Okay.
All right, we're back from executive session. The time is 6:22 p.m. and we'll move to number 11. Is there a motion on item number 11?
I'll make a motion to condemn the negotiations of 46.35 acre tract of land located north side of Main Street, conveyed to the estate of Jeremiah Rhodes.
All right, motion by Commissioner Velasquez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gross. Any further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 12, there is no action on number 12, so we'll go back to public hearings. Number 1, public hearing on the proposed final replat of Lot 1 in Block 5 of Paraíso Estate Subdivision Unit 3, an 11.67 acre tract. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:23 p.m. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this item is, the applicant for this item is Dirksen Engineering. He is not here at the meeting with us today. The location is 2027 Microstar Way. It includes 2 parcels. One that's already legally platted as Lot 1 in Block 5 of Paraíso Estates Unit 3, and then they are seeking to merge or add an additional 11.67 acres to that to make one larger tract. The zoning of the existing area is industrial, and that is the zoning they're seeking for the new merged lot. There is currently public utilities servicing this area. Here are a few street and aerial views. This is off of Indio Highway. You can see the bowling alley as a reference point there, and the white building is Microstar. And then in this one at the bottom left, you can see the existing area of the building, and they're seeking to add, going mostly northwest, to add additional land and then to be able to expand the building. Here's another view of that from the plat. The square here shows the existing building, and then the square, the rectangle that's going more vertical, shows the proposed addition, which basically doubles the existing square footage. Notices, 20 notices were mailed out to abutting property owners within a 500 feet radius. No letters were received in return. There is a development agreement with this process. This is Garcia. Is there anything we need to add about like a condition as far as that development agreement?
So we're working on a donation agreement with the property owners as well. One of the conditions for it to be presented tomorrow is for the donation agreement to be executed before tomorrow. That's something that we had talked about with the
Okay,
property
so-
owners, so that,
So our recommendation is to grant the final approval of the replat of Lot 1, Block 5, Bautista Estates Unit 3, and the 11.67 acre tract, subject to complying with Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances, and there being the donation agreement executed with City Council. And that donation agreement specifically for the right-of-way, thank you, Maribel, so I should point that out. Here on the right of the screen, this shows a 100-foot right-of-way all along the edge of the property, going from this small tract of road right-of-way that's already dedicated to the city, but this portion is really private, that you access MicroStar through. So this 100-foot right-of-way all the way to the edge of their property is the key part of that donation agreement. And that right-of-way will be used for extension of Patsy Wynn Boulevard, creating a connection from Highway 57 to Aduno. So any questions?
Does anybody from the public wish to address the commission on the item? If not, does the commission have any questions?
No questions.
No questions, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:27 PM. Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to approve the planning department recommendation with the condition of a donation agreement.
Motion by Commissioner Gross, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Velasquez. All those in favor? Motion passes. Number 2, public hearing on the proposed preliminary replat of Lot C in Block 13 of Fabrica Town Site. Closing the public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:28 PM. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you have before you a replat application submitted by Dirksen Engineering, property being located at 1736 Dr. Gates Street in the Seco Mines area. The request is to subdivide the 8.640 acre tract into 2 residential lots, and parcel size is 37,000 square feet, 37,635 square feet. Existing, there's a mobile home in the existence. As I mentioned before, the site is located in an area that features residential developments and crosswise from Seco Mines Elementary School. And access to the site is provided by Dr. Gates Street, and driveways will be determined at the time of lot development by the county planning department. Also, sidewalks will be constructed at the time of the lot developments. That was a condition from us and also from another county planning director. Here you have some site photos. And here's a zoomed in plat screenshot. We sent out 58 notices to the abutting property owners, and we received no letters in return. Anything you want to? So the recommendation is that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to Eagle Pass City Council to grant preliminary plat approval of the proposed replat of Lot C in Block 13 of Fabrica Town Site, subject to the plat complying with the provisions of Article 3, City of Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances, Chapter 23, Governing Procedures and Specifications for preliminary plats. And that concludes the report. Is there any questions?
Thank you. Does anybody from the public wish to address the commission on this item? Does the commission have any questions?
No.
I just wanted to double check the requested variances. There were none?
None.
Okay.
Not submitted.
No further questions.
So they will have to comply with the sidewalk.
That's correct.
there are no further questions, we'll close the public hearing at 6:30 PM. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant the preliminary plat approval.
Motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gross. All those in favor? Motion passes. Number 3, public hearing on the request submitted by Homero Morales Jr. for a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of childcare business in property legally known as Lot 3 in Block 1 of Enchanted Ridge, Unit 5, also known as 2467 North Veterans Boulevard. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:31 PM. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, for this item, it's sort of a unique item. The area, and I'll show you a couple pictures. You're probably familiar with this off of North Veterans Boulevard. A business appears as a business district, several business suites, daycare, accounting firm, various business suites in this plaza. But it is officially zoned as R1 on our legal records of this plat. And so that's why we're presenting this item. So the applicant and owner, Mr. Homero Morales Jr., is seeking to use a parcel as a childcare center, daycare center. But with the official zoning being R1, this process, technically, we need to go through a process. So one option is this, what we're going through, which is a conditional use to allow this business on what is an R1 residential zone area. The other option that could be done here is also rezoning the thing to the parcel 2 business district, which it should be. It is a business area fronting Veterans, one of our primary thoroughfares. So it is an appropriate, more appropriately zoned as business. But again, because it's currently zoned this way, this is essentially the most direct path forward for them to be able to utilize it in the manner that they want as a childcare. So this conditional use permit is to ask for that permission. Here's a section from our R1 first one family dwelling district, and it shows the various allowed uses, which does not include the use that they like, which is then necessitating us to bring this conditional use permit to use a different use that's not in the allowable list. We did get a chance to speak with the owner a little bit more about, because this is more of a short-term solution to grant a conditional use permit so they can do the business that they would like to there. But the real longer-term more correct solution is rezoning it. So the owner is open to that, and so our recommendation here is going to be to grant this request to establish or to approve a conditional use permit to establish a childcare business on this property at 2467 North Veterans, subject to complying with all local laws and ordinances, and that within 12 months they come back with an application to rezone to a business district. Also note that, as with pretty much all our conditional use permits, we do stipulate that it's non-transferable, so it is specific to this owner and this parcel. And the owner was amenable, he was open to coming back with that rezone, if approved right now for this conditional use permit. We did send out 17 notices to abutting property owners within a 200-foot radius, and no letters were returned in favor or opposition.
So the permit, you're recommending for the permit to be approved for 12 months, and then he will have to reapply at the end of those 12 months, and hopefully he submits the applications to rezone and kind of do it the way it should be.
Yes, I think I did fail to mention that. So we'd recommend this being conditional use permit valid for 12 months. And at that point, it would expire if they do not come back in and seek a rezone application within that time.
So when it expires, they would have to come back and reapply for that conditional use permit,
Correct.
if they haven't done the rezoning in So once they do the rezoning, it's zone business, and they don't have to come back and do anything else.
That's right.
Is there anybody in the public that wishes to address the commission on this item? Any questions from the commission?
No.
And Mr. Miller, you did say that the owner was okay with rezoning in the future.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions from the commission? No questions, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:36 PM. Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to grant the conditional use permit with the planning department's recommendation.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rose, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 4, public hearing on the request submitted by Maxi Stores, Inc. for a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of a convenience store on property legally known as 585 East Garrison Street. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:37 PM. Go ahead, Mario.
Thank you. I'm sure you're familiar with this gas station right across our building here in Garrison. So the applicant and property owner is Max E-Stores, Inc. There are several legal descriptions, as you can see. One address, of course. The parcel again is off of Garrison Street and within an area featuring commercial developments. The request is for approval of a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of a convenience store business due to a change of ownership. So because the property was purchased by someone else, then they have to go through the process according to our code. Parcel again is 23,349 square feet. Current use is a convenience store, gas station. The proposed use, same use. It's in the B2 Central Business District, and the master plan is depicted as commercial as well. Here you have an aerial map and some photos of the site, street view. Here you have some of the Section 8 regulating the B1, well, in this case, this doesn't apply to the B1, I'm sorry. So we did send out 23 notices to the abutting property owners, and we received one letter as undeliverable, none in favor or in opposition. And the recommendation is for Planning and Zoning Commission to grant the request to establish a convenience store business on property located at 585 East Garrison Street, subject to the following conditions: that the establishment comply with all state and local laws and ordinances, and note that the conditional use permit is not transferable. If not, they would have to reapply for the same process if there were to be another or different owner. That concludes the report.
Okay. And what is the reason that this needs a conditional use permit?
Due to the change of ownership. So every single time the property's sold and purchased by a different property owner, then they have to go through the same process.
So does this type of business require that permit, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me add it if I can. So, coming back here into the B1 neighborhood business district, so anything in a B2, you can do what's also allowed in B1, so it works upwards. So this, even though this is areas B2, everything in here can be done here, so these rules apply here. And because number 9, for this type of use, of filling station, service station, a gas station, and this is what we normally call, due to the storage tanks and the, I guess, potentially volatile nature, they do require the conditional use permit, which is highlighted at the end here, and only with conditional use permit as specified. So because of the type, even though this is a business area, this particular type, regardless of which business district, does need to go through this process to be sure it's a safe or appropriate area for gas station and those tanks that are affiliated with them. So that is what is creating the need to bring it before this process, even though it was an already existing gas station, and it's just changing ownership, but because they don't transfer conditional use permits, we're bringing it before you.
Thank you. Does anybody in the public wish to address the commission on this item? Does the commission have any questions on the item?
No, sir.
No
No
questions.
questions. If no questions, then we'll close the public hearing at 6:41 PM. Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to grant the conditional use permit.
Motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gross, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 5, public hearing on the request submitted by Celia E. Felix for the rezoning of Lot 10A and Block 12 of Hillcrest Addition, also known as 164 Medina Street, from R3 Duplex District to R3A Apartment District. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:41 PM. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you. What you have before you is a rezone application submitted by Celia E. Felix, location 164 Medina Street. The request to rezone parcel from R3 Duplex District to R3A Apartment District to allow for the construction of 4 two-bedroom apartments. Parcel size is 8,112 square feet. Currently zoned again R3 Duplex District. Current use is vacant and undeveloped. The proposed, again, construction of apartments, and the site is in an area that is primarily comprised of single-family dwellings and multifamily uses. Access to the site is provided by Webster's, Medina, that's a typo. Here you have photos of the site. This here is the site. You can barely see because of the tree, but that's the residence, which is this one here. As you can see, there's a set of apartments already next door. We currently came to you all for another rezone in this area right here. And then there's another set of, or another application off of Rio Grande, and then you have some other apartments off of Rio Grande as well, and next door in the vicinity. So we sent out 28 notices to the abutting property owners, and we received 1 letter as undeliverable. And the recommendation from the planning department to planning and zoning commission is recommending that city council prepare and adopt an ordinance granting a zoning district change from R3 Duplex District to R3A Apartment District for property legally known as 164 Medina Street, subject to the following conditions, which is compliance with our building and zoning codes as listed on the report. And that concludes the report, and I'll open up for questions.
Thank you. Are there any, does the public wish to address the commission on this item? Does the commission have any questions?
No questions.
No questions, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:44 PM. Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance with the conditions of the planning department.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Grove, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 6, public hearing on the request submitted by Celia E. Felix for the rezoning of Lot 1 and 19 and Block 26 of Hillcrest Addition, also known as 388 Trinity Street, from R1 First One Family Dwelling District to R3 Duplex District. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:45 PM. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Again, the applicant being Celia Felix, property owner being South Texas Legal Aid LLC, which we also have the property owner here as well. Location again, 388 Trinity Street. The request is for the rezone the parcel from R1 Single One Family Dwelling District to R3 Duplex District to allow for the construction of a duplex. Parcel size, it's 2 legal lots owned by the same property owner. The current zoning again is R1 Single One Family Dwelling District. The master plan shows it as residential, current use is vacant and undeveloped. Again, the proposed use to build a duplex. The site is in an area that is primarily comprised of single-family dwellings and multifamily uses. Access to the site is provided by Trinity Street. Here you have a photo of the street view of the subject lot. And a copy of our master plan and our zoning map. We did send out 23 notices to the abutting property owners, and we received 2 letters as undeliverable. And the recommendation is that Planning and Zoning Commission recommend that City Council prepare and adopt an ordinance granting a zoning district change from R1 to R3 for property legally known as 388 Trinity Street, subject to the following conditions, which is compliance with our building codes and our zoning codes. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Does anybody from the public wish to address the commission on this item? If not, are there any questions from the commission on the item?
No questions.
No questions, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:47 PM. And is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance granting a zoning district change from R1 to R3 with the conditions stated by the Planning and Zoning Department.
Motion by Commissioner Gross, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Velasquez, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 7, public hearing on the request submitted by Celia E. Felix for the rezoning of Lot 9 and 10 and Block 10 of North Heights, Unit 2, also known as 1001 Webster Street, from R1 First One Family Dwelling District to R3 Duplex District. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We'll open the public hearing at 6:48 PM. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So there's a third rezone request, similar to the previous 2, although this one maybe a little have some different details to it. So we'll get into those. The owner, the Webster Estate LLC, CDF Felix is representative for this. They are seeking to go from R1 single one family to R3 duplex to allow for 2 units, 2 dwellings per the legal lot. It is a 14,000 square foot parcel. There is utilities in this area. It's fully serviced, fully developed area with other residential homes around. Couple of views from the street. You see some large trees, vegetation from one angle here. This is off of 2nd Street before it curves onto Ceylon. There are some nearby duplex and apartment and multi-family highlighted here in yellow. The red dot, or red marking across the street depicts the house in question where the rezone is being requested. And so these are on the other side of 2nd Street where the existing duplex are. 18 notices were mailed out to the abutting property owners within a 200-foot radius. 3 letters were received in opposition and 1 is undeliverable. As part of our packet and report, we do have it listed as recommending to approve. But again, this is one where, honestly, we're kind of, some are more clear cut. This one's not as clear cut as we got those letters in opposition. 2 of them did not have any commentary. They just checked the box that says opposed. So those, we don't really have like a lot of detail of what their thinking is. The third one similarly has checked the box and just says, I strongly oppose. Didn't really name reasons for why. But, that got us just looking at it a little bit more. And there is a little bit of a distinction I could see between one side of 2nd Street where we have highlighted some duplex and the side where this house is, 14,000 square foot, it's a larger lot, so there's room, there's plenty of room. But there's also some other people with these type of larger lots, almost, estate type, considering it's inside city limits. So this one's definitely not as clear cut. I don't believe anybody on the opposition are here. We do have the applicants here. So, I don't know if you're open to hearing from them on any potential concerns before we move into the recommendation and making a decision on it. Did you guys want to speak on behalf of the?
I mean, if you want, if you would like to.
Can you just come up to the front, state your name?
Buenas tardes.
Buenas
¿Puedo hablar en español?
Claro que sí.
Bueno, mi nombre es Siria Félix. El motivo que estoy representando tres aplicaciones al mismo tiempo, en realidad es porque una de ellas es mía, ¿verdad? La otra estoy representando a una compañía y la otra estoy asociada con alguien. Para mí, esto es lo que he planeado toda mi vida. Es la forma, es mi autorretiro. Tengo 2 hijos que he criado sola y es lo que quiero hacer. Estoy enamorada del terreno ese de Webster, ¿verdad? Mi idea sería tener ahí una casita donde alguno de mis hijos pudiera vivir y aparte tener algo para rentar, ¿verdad? Por eso estoy haciendo la aplicación, igual con Medina. Esa es la razón. No es querer ir a destruir nada, ni hacer algo feo, ni mucho menos. El terreno está lleno de árboles y yo no sé si la persona que lo vendió tiene personas que a lo mejor no se llevan muy bien, ¿verdad? Porque pues yo ahí no me llevo mal con nadie. De hecho, conozco unos poquitos de los vecinos. Pero bueno, esa es la intención.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Anybody else from the public wishes to address the commission on this item?
So they pointed out before, we want to go back to it here at the bottom left. Hopefully you can get the general concept, it may be a little bit far to see it from there, but the star depicts the property, and you do see a lot of the yellow coloration in the zoning showing R1 zoning. Across the street and diagonally, one of those that was highlighted in yellow shows the duplex district across Second Street, and it appears some of those that are actually being used as such are not depicted on the zoning map there. So there are a few, but in the primary area in this section between to the west, there's a large section of duplex district, and then once you get across Avenue B, again, you see the dark color a lot more. But in this particular, channel or middle section, there's not as many. So that's where we get to, these not being as clear cut of a decision. In general, my opinion is up zoning and trying to allow for more duplex or more density is beneficial to the city in terms of affordability for housing. But again, a big part of what we're here to do is to protect citizens, and so although they didn't have a lot of detail, we had 3 people that it appears to feel that rezoning a duplex would negatively impact their particular areas. So just wanted to make sure all those details were pointed out, because that's what we're here for, is to be thinking about those different points of view. Having said all that, we will move forward with the department's recommendation to adopt and approve. But I just did want you to hear, I guess there's different sides to this. Request to rezone from R1 single family to R3 duplex district at 1001 Webster Street, subject to them complying with all City of Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances. Any questions?
Mr. Mehta, do you think getting more details would be beneficial, or is that not going to change much as far as your recommendation?
I think it could, yeah, like meaning more detail from the owners, exactly what their concerns are. Yeah, I think it could. Is that something you want us to, I guess, reach out and bring back more information?
If the commission would agree. Also, on the letters that you received in opposition, do we know if it's 3 different owners, or if it's one owner with 3 properties or 2 properties?
Three different addresses, three different names, they're different owners, yeah.
Are there any questions from the commission?
As far as the duplexes, do we know the plans? Or are they going to be two-story, one-story?
I don't believe they've gotten that far yet. You have
Oh,
a
the same
general?
one story, like townhouses.
Okay,
Like keep it like historic, you know, like downtown is.
okay.
If I may add also, there's a consideration that we're trying to make where the house that already exists gets renovated. And just like she said, to keep the historic Eagle Pass downtown feel of the place to be, and only use partial of the lot as the townhomes that she speaks of. So it would be a total of three units, one single, which is the one that's right there, and two together.
I will go for, like, make both duplexes, but yeah, like, my first wish will be like to redo the cottage in the corner. It is very unique, it's lovely, and I think I would love to, instead of like removing it, like as, or before, I would like to, like, do it again. And keep it there, I just like it, I just like the, how the historic part of Eagle Pass is.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Miller? No? Any further questions from the commission?
No, sir.
No?
No.
All right, so we'll close the public hearing at 6:57 PM. Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance for the rezone with the planning department recommendations.
All right, motion by Commissioner Velasquez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Grove. Any further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes. New business, number 8, consideration and possible action on the plat amendment of lots 4 and 5 in Block 1 of Eagle Pass Industry Center Subdivision Unit 1 and GNS Estates.
Yes, Chairman, thank you. So this applicant here is Hector Canales, local engineer. He is in the building, in the audience with us in case you have a question later during the public hearing portion. Property owner is Ricardo Gonzalez. The location here is 1050 Adams Circle and also 1062 Adams Circle off of US Highway 57 and 3524 US Highway. So there's 3 parcels that are involved with this. And they are seeking to do a plat amendment to adjust the lot lines. The area is zoned industrial. It is developed industrial area with utilities present. Here are a couple of views from Adams Circle. Looking at it from Adams Circle. Here are a couple of views looking at it from the highway from 57 on the right. And hopefully you can see that there's a building over the previous line where utility easement is shown. And so what they're seeking to do now is adjust the lot lines to go in between that building. To be, they're 2 different property owners at this point. And so by adjusting this lot line, they're able to clearly keep the building on the correct property owner. And so there is overhead Rio Grande Electric in this area. Here's a closer view of what they're seeking to do here in terms of moving that lot line to avoid the buildings. And you do have Bravo Estates, the applicant, Gonzalez family, is the owner on the right, and then GNS Estates, different owner on the left. So again, just to clearly distinguish the buildings to the proper owners. Here's another larger view to see the full extent of the track. So previously the property line think, diagonally across. But over time, the different ownership is necessitating this plat amendment to be able to keep all the buildings for the Bravo Estates on one parcel. It was previously crossing over the existing lot line. It's a zoning map showing, the red showing it's an industrial zone area. Part of the application did include a sidewalk waiver, plat amendment to move the lot lines with a sidewalk waiver, so the department's recommendation to the commission is to deny the sidewalk waiver. 2, to grant the approval of the plat amendment adjusting the property lines between lots 4 and 5 in Block 1 of Eagle Pass Industry Center 1 and Lot 1 in GNS Estates. And we would like to just ensure that there's no conflict with utilities. No, we don't believe that there is, but we do want to get it in writing. When we reviewed this item, we didn't get any kind of concern or opposition, but we would like to just get confirmation that there is no issue with being that there was a utility easement running along that previous lot line. But the building is already in place. The utilities are still in place, so I don't believe anything really can change, but just to confirm, we would like to just add that as a condition. The applicant would like to come up?
Yeah.
Ready for- Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioner and members of the zoning. So basically what we're doing, okay, so you can see right here, I'm going to use the mouse. Can you see? Okay. This is the original plat of record. So this is GNS Estates, this is Eagle Pass Industry, so you can see that lot line going this way, which is this lot line going this way. And you can see that there's a building right in the middle of that lot line. So Mr. Gonzalez owns all 3 of these lots. So GNS and Bravo Estates are the same owners. So what he was trying to do is to, in the event that he wants to sell, let's say GNS Estates or Lot 4 or Lot 5, to make sure that the lot lines are correct in the sense that they don't traverse a building like this one right here. This is the original lot line. So that's what we're trying to do, is just to try to correct what was done in the past. Of course, it's 15 acres, they started building, and I applied the planning and zoning and the code compliances to now, taking a look at these matters that, you shouldn't be doing this, right? Of course. So that's what we're trying to do, is trying to correct what was done in the past to make it right. And that way, in the event that they want to sell it. There is this building right here does get service with Rio Grande Electric. There's a pole here and there's another pole over here. So we do want to, we'll keep this easement here. I think the revised plat shows the non-abandonment of this easement here, but again, you got an easement through this building, which is, there is no utilities through it. So that's basically what we're trying to do, is just kind of correct what was done in the past, just to make it right. That would, each building or each facility is within its own lot. That way they can, if they want to sell it in the future, they can sell it in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Meyer?
No, I'm just glad he did make those clarifications, so I guess I see, when one owner owns all of them, it's easy they build everywhere, because it's all, but So that explains a little bit more why it was built in this way, because the same person had them all. So again, we do agree that this is essentially I guess in a way fixing the issue and then making it where the owner is able to then potentially sell one of the pieces without having to sell them all, because with this building over the line, then it would pretty much need both of them to be together. So we do agree with moving that lot line in this plat amendment request, the general request here.
All right, are there any questions from the commission on the item?
No questions.
All right, is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to deny the sidewalk waiver and grant the approval of the plot amendment adjusting the property lines as requested by the Planning and Zoning Department.
Okay, will that motion also include the checking of the utility easement?
Correct.
Okay.
If I could just clarify that, so I think I stated before about the abandonment of the easement. So I think if, with your approval, we would make a recommendation that it get approval from Rio Grande State, not necessarily abandoning or not, but if the electric company who has utilities there is comfortable with this replat as presented, then we'll move forward that way.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a motion by Commissioner Gross. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Velasquez. Any further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes. Number 9, consideration and possible action on the Rio Grande Estates master plan.
So this master plan is part of a phase subdivision. Anytime we have development that goes in phases, we do, ordinance does require we have a master plan in place to show the various phases. The applicant here is Leak Engineers LLC, and we do have a representative of the company who drove down here to be with us today from out of town. The developer owner is Margon Developers of USA Corporation. The location is near Veterans Boulevard and Del Rio Boulevard. Gross acreage 55.69 acres. This is the master plan. One phase has already been developed. They're coming now to bring a second phase, and then there's plan for a third phase at a later time. And so this master plan shows us those other two phases and what will be included from this middle area here. It's depicting the continuation of Veterans Boulevard after Del Rio Highway. So after you come over the overpass on Veterans and cross Del Rio Highway, that's what this road is here. So you got Lemonwood, Leonard Street, some of those first streets that you get to as you're going in that neighborhood, passing like the Banquito Las Minas here in this corner. So this subdivision, giving you reference points of where all this is. And so first one is already, unit 1 is there, and then unit 2 and 3 will be here on this left side. Further above on this screen would be the Rio Grande River. And so again, you can see unit 2 comes along here with this Rio Sabinas Drive that turns in Rio San Antonio Drive. Here's a larger view. The applicant has proposed the idea of donating some parkland, which you can see just above here, where Veterans Boulevard would curve and then become parallel with the Teal River up at the top. So just to the west of that, near the river, they're proposing some parkland. Our Parks Department reviewed the proposal, and being that there's already acreage, over 7 acres as part of Hunter Park, a previous Bass subdivision parkland dedication, they didn't feel it be a necessary parkland dedication, so it is depicted on this particular drawing, not It's not clearly shown on this one. So as part of phase 2, we're not accepting parking at this time. Parks Department is not, does not feel it would be a good asset to take on in this particular case. So that would mean the development would need to move forward with cash in lieu for the parkland fees. But it's still potentially possible if further discussions or further information is shown on maybe how the city could benefit from that parkland, it could potentially still come into play with phase 3. But as part of phase 2, we did not get approval to move forward with parkland dedication. So the department recommendation to the commission is to grant the master plan for Rio Grande Estate subdivision, subject to them complying with the provisions of Code of Ordinances. Any questions on this item? Again, we do have a representative here for the application.
Do we know how much the cash in lieu would be?
Do we have that as part of the next item? Yeah, so it's comes into play with the phase 2 plat,
Okay.
so that'll come in the next item.
So then there's already a park dedicated right next to, I guess, Unit 2?
Yeah, it was a basswood.
So this is probably the best, larger view. So we're looking at Veterans Boulevard, there's Del Rios. This is where we showed it continues, and then it would curve. So it's pretty much these areas here where the phase development will be. And I think basically in this general vicinity, the city has, I think it's this parcel here. So this parcel here, fairly close, the city has a large dedicated parkland of about 7 acres, that was part of Bass subdivision. And so that proximity, Parks felt that it would be additional area to maintain and not necessarily be enough of a benefit. Those people in this area could already access that existing parkland that's there.
And there's another one south for MGA.
MGA is also proposing parkland dedication, and that would be
Right.
right around this area, fairly close to where that one. And so, actually, so it would be up here with Bass Country Park. So this is MGA, and there's a proposed small linear park that we're looking at tying in some trails, some like walking trails. So yeah, essentially Parks felt there was already a lot to be maintaining in the area, and I was not really seeking to add more to that.
All right, any further questions?
Anything you want to add on this item?
And how many proposed lots, proposed homes will be built in this?
That's going to be on the next item. Let me pull that up. So 58 is marked here. 58, correct?
For the second phase, 58.
58. So we're still right now on the master plan item. Any other questions for the master plan item?
No, sir.
No questions? Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to grant the master plan.
A motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kuros. All those in favor? Motion passes. Number 10, consideration and possible action on the preliminary plat of Rio Grande Estate Subdivision Unit 2. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
So we'll have some more details on the plating here with this item. Again, Leak Engineering LLC is representing the owner, developer, Margon Developers of USA Corporation. This is off of Veterans Boulevard, Del Rio Boulevard. This preliminary plat application is seeking to subdivide approximately 15.26 acre tract into 58 residential lots. They're also including a variance to allow for the subsequent construction of a 1,320 linear feet finished street portion of Veterans Boulevard extension to take place with Unit 3, with a Phase 3 of the development, to comply with the egress requirements of the Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances, which require two access points, two vehicular access points. This plat has been reviewed by our subdivision review team and is recommended for approval. The zoning R2 is what's being recommended for this plat, which is consistent with the other residential zoning around it. There's utilities in this vicinity that will be extended to these new lots as part of this development. Again, we showed you previously the general area of this one off of North Veterans near Rio Grande River. Here's a view of the plat. And so it does include, this will be Veterans Boulevard and some of the existing residential. So we'll be adding additional this street with houses on either side of the street. Then you have Rio Grande River to the left here for reference point. And so this portion in between is the portion that they're asking for the variance to continue and complete this section of road with the future Phase 3. And the reason for that is, economical. It's just a lot of additional pavement, and all these houses are already able to enter and exit with this, and so until they build out the other residential, it's just a additional financial burden to do that, this portion now, but they will complete that with a future phase. Here's a little bit closer view of that plat. There's some stormwater ponds here to the west. The natural slope is to the west, so that is, it has been reviewed and approved, the stormwater plan here. There's a master plan and zoning map showing the area. You can see the coloration of the R2 zoning around there, so it is consistent with what's around it. And so the recommendation is to grant the subdivision variance request to allow the subsequent construction of the 1,320 linear feet of finished street portion of Veterans Boulevard, to grant the preliminary plat approval of Rio Grande Estates Subdivision Unit 2, subject to them complying with the provisions of the Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances. We are placing the condition here. This is very similar to a condition we placed in a previous subdivision a few years ago where they were seeking to do the same and complete the rest of the road in a future phase. And so the condition is to dedicate, design, and construct the remaining portion of North Veterans Boulevard to Rio Sabinas upon development of phase, that says 2, I apologize, the typo should be Phase 3. Upon the development of Phase 3 of the subdivision, or 3 years after the sale of 80% of the units included in Phase 2, current phase. So again, I apologize, that should have been 2 and 3 there, whichever comes first. And again, this is similar to a condition placed on Santa Maria Estates that did a similar phase development and completed the road with these same type of conditions. So we checked with Fire Marshal. A big part of the reason for that requirement of 2 egress is emergency personnel access. He said there is plenty of access here to get to all these properties, but in the long term, we do want to see that second connection and that loop finished. So Fire Marshal was in agreement with this type of scenario where there's a temporary approval of this phase with that additional connection coming in the near future. And again, do you have any comments or anything to add on that? Any questions for either myself or the engineer record here?
Any questions from the commission?
No.
No questions. So the condition is for them to finish off that road when they do Phase 3, or when they sell 80% of the lot.
Or, after 3 years of 80% of the lot being sold, so that's just a second protection for the city in case they decide we're not gonna do a phase 3, but ultimately that connection road would need to happen, so this would be, I guess, a contingency clause to have that taken care of. But from discussing with the owner and an applicant, they are eager to get into phase 3, and they hope to get some of these first, this phase 2 lots sold, and they want to move on to phase 3 very quickly. Is that correct? Yeah. So we hope it'll be all before 3 years of 80% of these lots being sold.
All right, any further comments, questions? Is there a motion on the item?
I'll make a motion to grant the variance and to grant the preliminary plat approval with the planning department condition.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gross. All those in favor? Motion passes. There are no further items in the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Velasquez, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gross. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned 7:22 PM.